Modality in philosophy is about what is true or false, what could be true or false, and what must be true or false. If something is logically impossible, that means it must be false in every possible world because it is self-contradictory, like a four-sided triangle or a married bachelor. The idea of a four-sided triangle doesn't make sense. You can't imagine it because four-sidedness and triangle cancel each other out. A four-sided triangle contradicts itself, and so four-sided triangles are logically impossible and inconceivable. But anything that isn't self-contradictory is logically possible. For example, it's logically possible that I could jump onto the moon from Earth. That's not a contradiction like a married bachelor or a four-sided triangle. The fact that you can coherently imagine jumping to the moon shows that jumping to the moon from Earth is logically possible in a way that four-sided triangles aren't. But obviously, just because something is logically possible, that doesn't mean it's physically possible in our actual world. Jumping to the moon from Earth goes against the laws of our actual world, and so jumping to the moon is physically impossible despite being logically possible. In other words, everything that's physically possible is also logically possible, but not everything that's logically possible is physically possible. But then there's also this third kind of possibility that's in between logical possibility and physical possibility, and this is metaphysical possibility, but this is less clearly defined. Water is H3O is often used as an example of something that's logically possible, but metaphysically impossible. Water is H3O is logically possible because H3O doesn't directly contradict water like four-sidedness contradicts triangle. We can coherently imagine, for example, a parallel world where the clear liquid in lakes and rivers has this H3O structure instead of H2O. Obviously this is physically impossible, but we can at least imagine water being H3O in a way that we can't imagine a four-sided triangle. So water is H3O is logically possible. But the argument is that H2O is an essential property of what water is, its identity. If something isn't H2O, then it isn't water. H2O is metaphysically necessary to what water is, and so you can't change that property and still have water. So, because H2O is an essential property of water, water is H3O is metaphysically impossible. But whether a property of something is essential or contingent to it is up for debate. Some might say a human jumping to the moon from Earth is metaphysically possible, but others might say this stretches the definition of human being too far, and so jumping to the moon from Earth is metaphysically impossible. Because it's often difficult to determine which properties are necessary and which are contingent, it's also difficult to define exactly what counts as metaphysically possible or metaphysically impossible.